Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of OMO Hour. Today is Monday, June 30th, 2025. Folks, joyful June is coming to an end. Was a bit of a rocky month there, at least in the middle, but ending on a somewhat joyful note. Trump saying he's going to print, baby, print. Stocks are finding new all-time highs. Crypto is grinding up. And now we're wondering, are we set up for a jubilant July? We're going to break it all down on today's show. We got Farouk back in the house. Mendo's in the house. Boys, GM, how you doing?
GM, man.
GM. Miss you guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Good to have you back. Where are you now?
My body's back. My soul stay in Ibiza, but it'll be back together. I promise you in a few days. I'm in Cannes right now. I had to stop by for ECC. I had a couple meetings this morning, this afternoon, tomorrow morning, and then we go back home. But I have to tell you, going from a week in Ibiza straight into a conference is something else. I'm impressed.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I'm impressed by my skills here. I'm not gonna lie.
I am
sound
curious
like the worst
for the
thing.
vibes and
Going from Ibiza to Cannes doesn't sound like the worst thing.
No, exactly. I have to say, I was telling Lux this morning. I was like, you know what? There's worse things. There's definitely worse things. But going back into the whole like shooting videos, doing interviews, meeting people, having to entertain. It's always a little tough, but we're here and we're back with FOMO Hour, baby. Let's go.
maybe the vibes in Cannes will help carry you a bit. There's a lot of big news expected. We've also got some big news out of Ethereum this morning. We'll get into it on today's show. So, folks, what are we talking about? We're going to start with Mando's market report. We've got stocks again at all-time highs. Some talk about these big, beautiful bill amendments. U.S.-Canada trade talks back on the table. We've got a new MicroStrategy of ETH from Tom Lee. Robinhood, big event right after the show in 15 minutes. To catch a token. What is that going to be? We've got Pump Fund 2.0. No one even talking about it. What's going on with Pump Fund? The latest in corporate treasuries. YEET hitting 200 million. Quick shout out to YEET. Huge milestone there. We got an announcement out of Crossmint. Oh wow! I didn't even see that. What was the total?
9.97 million.
Damn.
A day.
That is a good. Especially
we thought it would take a much longer. Like we normally average like 2 to 3 a day, and Sunday was a big day.
Yeah, peak summer too. That's crazy because I'm a gambler and I don't think about gambling on a Sunday in July or June or whatever. That's impressive.
Yeah. Big Sunday for everyone.
People are going for it. Well, you love to see it. And then, folks, also second half of the show, we've got Pons coming on, talking about his Grindcoin launch and a little partnership with MYRIAD that we'll get into the details about. So we're excited for that back half of the show. Before we dive in, shout out to our partners, starting with Wallet Connect. Wallet Connect is the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to a Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect. That blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto, as recognizable as Visa at the checkout. If you want to learn more, follow at Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. And Kraken Pro gives active traders exactly what they need: deep liquidity, full customization, and 350 plus trading pairs. Build your own layout with drag and drop modules and trade seamlessly across desktop or mobile. Go to pro.kraken.com and trade without trade-offs. And folks, also big news out of our partner Kraken. X stocks, their tokenized stocks, are live today. They're going to have 60 U.S. equities going live for trading 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, starting with majors like Coinbase and NVIDIA. So Kraken, they've been pushing forward these last few weeks. Happy to be partnering with them as always. All right, Mando, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So I would say it was just like a mixed weekend. Yesterday evening, it felt like we were about to fully send. And then kind of kind of just stopped in its tracks, really. I think ETH has got this pulled back at 2450 or 2500 area. It's been around that area for ages. Bitcoin has also kind of been hanging out. Apart from this like one dip, we're kind of just hanging out at this level. We've been hanging out for a while. Solana have been outperforming slightly, but that kind of reversed today. And actually, no, Solana's just kind of unchanged as well, man. That is a boring weekend, really. There, isn't it? Hyperliquid, would say, is the only one that's been outperforming. That went back up to 40. Yeah, so it's a decent day, as in like it's not that horrific. We just kind of have been going sideways. It feels like. In terms of macro, I think we have a quiet week. It's a US holiday again this week. Is that right?
On Friday.
On Friday, yeah. So thank you for understanding. So we will be. So I think a lot of people take this week off as well. So I don't know. Sometimes that means more volatility. Sometimes that means less. It's 4th of July, right? So I think that's going to be. Yeah, I don't know. Crypto, in terms of the headlines that you mentioned, are the big ones, right? I don't really feel like there's much going on in altcoins or majors. It's just like what's going on in the stocks of those coins or stocks related to that coin. So this new vehicle for Tom Lee has been launching for ETH. There's a lot of chatter about this Robinhood. Obviously, the Robinhood announcement is happening at ETHCC with Vitalik and I believe the Off-Chain Labs CEO founder. So it's highly likely that it's going to be some form of Arbitrum L3, very similar to kind of how Hyperliquid first came to being. And it feels as though it may be to do with tokenized equities, of which we have seen several different forays into in just the last few days, right? Like this is now the thing. It seems as though people feel comfortable about doing this, particularly outside of the US. This looks like it's going to be launched in Europe, and then that creates like a sandbox to see if it will be allowed from a regulatory standpoint in the US. So this is now forming a bit of the bull case now for some of these L1s, that you'll start to see major trading venues move some of their operations on chain. This is just the beginning of that, I think, and hopefully that extends from here. Obviously, BlackRock have been talking about this for a long time, but now to see big exchanges like Robinhood do this, you're starting to see the crypto exchanges feel more like stock exchanges, and the stock exchanges, stock apps feel a bit more like crypto exchanges. So I expect this to be a medium-term trend. The big one that we haven't heard anything from yet is Binance, but they will have something. There is no doubt in my mind that Binance are going to make a very big announcement in the coming weeks, months, about what they think they can do here in all the different geographies. It'll be interesting to see if they do it on BNB or not, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. It feels like they probably should if they're going to support it, but maybe they'll support various different chains for people buying. But yeah, this has now become the trend. Treasuries plus stuff moving on chain. We haven't seen that much of a move. Like despite crypto stocks feeling hot, kind of throughout the board, I haven't really seen much, to be honest. It's been maybe a little bit surprising. We haven't kicked on from here. We had a bit of a rally in altcoins over the weekend. It felt like more squeezy, I would say, again than anything. Maybe there was some calls for like the Solana and Hype to move on higher, but other than that, it wasn't like, I don't think people are rushing in to buy some of the big gainers over the weekend. It just felt like they've been beaten down a lot and now they're rallying. Part of it was like this Arbitrum move, potentially by Robinhood, is being viewed as like a move that could unlock L2s a bit. So there's a bit of that being spoken about, right? Like, oh, maybe modular's back. Maybe these apps will prefer to have L2s, and which they can have some control over and control the fees of. So maybe we see a bit of a return to that as like a theme. But other than that, Solana had actually been outperforming on kind of the L1s, and Hyperliquid had too. So I don't completely buy into that narrative just yet. REKT got a Binance Alpha listing. That was a huge bit of news that I saw. Got dumped and then completely V-shaped the move, which is nice to see.
Love to see it.
Classic.
CZ in shambles. CZ in absolute shambles.
There's a new trillionaire, right? Like this guy just bought up 1 trillion coins, right?
Didn't get us this time, CZ. So that's nice to see. I don't know what else.
That's a nice looking chart, dude. That
Yeah,
REKT
Great
chart.
recovery.
How do you feel scared about that chart? Went straight down and then straight back up.
Can I just quickly jump in? I had a few people chirping me in my replies because I posted the REKT on Binance Alpha.
Yeah. And
then I got and the chart is REKT too. And they had a solid 2 hours to celebrate their
LOL
sell off before it came marching right back to where it was. I saw the new trillionaire announcement. I think if people aren't following, I know it's hard with the unit bias on this. To be a trillionaire is like 200,000, 250,000. So that's a sizable buy-in from this fellow. So he is he's drinking the REKT Kool-Aid for sure. Like there's a lot of directions we can go. A lot happening. I don't think we don't have the news on Solana yet, but perhaps some of the speculation, maybe driving some of the price action, is chatter about staking ETF this week.
Yeah. And it's Jason Safe too, and he doesn't just talk to talk when he says that his confidence level is high. So that's a big one, because when the Ethereum ETFs came out, staking was illegal. And well, by the way, which this is bullish for Ethereum because it means Ethereum's going to get it too, right? But Solana staking ETF is no joke, guys. And we know it's had a lot of FUD and sell pressure from the unlocks in the last recent months, and then the whole blow off up with Libra and the death of the trenches. So I don't know, man. I tweeted about this last week. I think Solana sees an all-time high again this year, and I wouldn't be surprised, guys. There's a lot of positive momentum around it again right now. I don't know what you guys think, but it's looking good.
I think staking ETF is, we've spoken about it a few times in the show. This is the exact company I thought would get it. So this KraneShares, this is the one that they've been speaking about for a month. So there was some talk it could come in June. It looks like it's now going to come in July. Remember, we've been talking about it for a while, right? It was 50-50, and then it may come, it may not come. I'm just looking at it now. So it's now 75% chance this will happen by the end of July. So it looks likely that it will come. And obviously, yeah, this will now unlock an ETH staking as well via a similar vein. It seems like these guys did it in a slightly different way to some of the others, but it seems like we're going to get all of them now. So I think what you'll see is all the current ETFs for ETH will apply for an S1 to convert to being staking now. And you may see BlackRock. The main thing here would be if BlackRock decide to do a Solana ETF on the back of this sort of headline. If they do, it's bullish. If they don't, I would say it's maybe slightly. It's not bearish. It just takes a little bit. It means that they think it's going to take a little bit more time to get like full demand.
Do we think this is sell the news for Solana if it happens this week?
I mean, you're not going to see who is KraneShares. Like, this is not a big REKT Osprey is not some big fund manager, right? So like, don't expect to see billions go into REKT Osprey's ETF. It's like when Canary files for these like altcoin ETFs. I keep on telling Ovi not to file for these altcoin ETFs, and he keeps on coming back and doing it, you know. But these are not big ETF providers. So you want the big guys. You want the Fidelity, BlackRock, Franklin, Templeton, Bitwise, Vanek. These are the guys that you want to really take this over the line.
Yeah, it'll be big for Solana. It feels bigger for ETH, especially if the existing ETFs, if they're able to unlock that. Feels like something that could unleash the next level of inflows. So that's a big one to watch. There's a lot of ETH announcements. So Robinhood you talked about it, but just quickly, people think it's going to be tokenized stocks on an Arbitrum L3, so EVM chain. They are bringing Vlad Tim, CEO Robinhood is bringing in Vitalik for the conversation today. So it feels like it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Curious for your reactions, takeaways to the tokenized stocks. Clearly a huge trend. As you mentioned, is this going to be, is this a major new use case for crypto? Do you think this is going to be widely used? Curious if you have any reactions to just this broader trend here.
I think it's just super interesting that Vitalik's on stage with Robinhood, right? Like, this is a
Yeah.
guy that is not really that commercially focused, or hasn't been for a long time, right? When are you getting Vitalik on stage with anyone, corporate or trading? The guy cares about nation states and better governance and social goods, right? I think this is a shift in perception, I think, is the main thing. That's what I would call that.
What do we think it is? Like, I genuinely believe. So we for sure know there's someone. So it's AJ. Sick. I love AJ. He's a good friend. We talk to AJ a lot. It's got to be an Arbitrum orbit chain, like an L3. And then what would you do on there is probably trade tokenized stocks. Like, do we think we know Arbitrum is big on the rewarding and rewards program stuff. I think they've talked about this a few times. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in Arbitrum orbit chain, so now 3, technically speaking, with like a hood token that is as a reward token for what it's worth, which powers that and goes back to the user. So like by trading on-chain stocks, you get rewarded hood. So I think something like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, because why would off-chain labs be on that stage?
Yeah, I think it has to be something with Arbitrum, right? I am curious if there's another twist with Vitalik being on stage, just because that does feel like a big deal, or perhaps another announcement coming. So I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on that certainly after the show here today. So tune into that right after FOMO hour if you are interested in learning more. And then the other big headline from Ethereum, Mando went there, but I think we got to spend another minute or two. Tom Lee, infamous crypto bull, perhaps more bullish than Farouk even, is now the chairman of the board of directors of this Bitcoin miner, Bitmine Emergent Technologies. They announced $250 million raise to build a corporate treasury around ETH. And they've kind of come out and said their stated goal to create the MicroStrategy of Ethereum. I was looking at the stock. I think unsurprisingly, that stock, it's up 300% today. So once again, if you're able to catch wind of these corporate treasury announcements, the move is to buy that stock early. Granted, the market cap still only 83 million, so kind of a micro cap in the grand scheme of things. Curious if you guys have reactions to this, and also what it might mean for our SBET stock. So are we a little competition for Joe Lubin here, and perhaps the company's trying to be MicroStrategy of Ethereum? Are we going to have two? SBET actually selling off a bit today.
Oh, that's the worry, right? That they somehow dropped the ball with how the financing was done, and I don't know. I said this already last week, but if Joe, if you're listening, you need to get a long-term line of credit now to buy ETH, because I think no one trusts the short-term capital raises that they're potentially going to do, because they think that everyone's about to dump all their shares.
So let's take a look at this. So SharpLink is trading at 580 million. They've already bought, I think, somewhere between 420 and 500 million worth of Ethereum.
That is crazy.
They're trading at like 30% premium, roughly. I think 420 million. Bitminer, they haven't made any purchases, but they've announced their plans to raise 250 million. They're trading at 83. Is this not a slam dunk to 3x from here? Am I thinking about this wrong? They just announced plans to build a $250 million Ether treasury. Something to take a look at.
It's up for grabs, really, right? Like it depends who's going to do it.
See if we can learn a little more.
The best.
Well, I guess the only question is if they execute the 250 million, the company should be worth at least that, unless you think they're going to trade at a discount. And so far, we haven't seen too many traded discounts, at least early on. So I guess it's a matter of how quickly you think they were going to be able to pull that off. I'm not sure if we've got more details on their plans in this announcement, but that is certainly one to watch. And now just another crypto stock to add to that stock watch list as folks have more alternatives to investing beyond our beloved alternative cryptocurrencies. So we will continue to track this one as well. I wrote about this on the newsletter. I don't know if I've got the link pulled up, but this other financial advisor, Rick Edelman, I don't know if you guys saw this.
I read a lot about this apparently being like a really big deal, Mando. Like all these guys are tripping. Like Nate Charossi, Jay Say, Bro Kunas, saying that this is arguably one of the biggest signals there's been. But I don't know who really that guy is personally.
He's just like Edelman is like is a brokerage firm, right? I think he's just like he was never in the world of that I used to follow, but as we spoke about before with like these ETFs slash wealth manager investors, there's like few very key people that they give you your fund or your stock a good rating, like it's massive. So he's just like this is quite a big shift. It will basically just mean that a decent amount of wealth advisors slash traditional ETF buyers now come in to buy it.
Yeah, I think that's the takeaway, right? So this guy, Rick Edelman, he's been doing this for 40 years. He's got 300 billion assets under management, $1.3 million clients, and also just a very well-respected opinion. And I think one thing I've learned about the money managers is they don't like to take big risks. They like to be able to point to something in their decision making. And now, like, I think these are the biggest numbers I've seen. So he's recommending 10 to 40%, 10% crypto for conservative, 25% moderate, 40% for aggressive. He's saying the 60-40 stock bond model is just dead forever. Basically saying crypto's outperformed for so long that it is irresponsible to ignore it at this point in time. I think he also goes on to talk about what he's interested in. And basically it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the Bitwise top 10 ETF, which is also notably 70% Bitcoin and ETH. So overall, his exposure beyond Bitcoin and ETH are probably 90% or more. I don't think that would come as a huge surprise. I don't think we really know the split there. I would imagine it's still fairly heavy Bitcoin in that mix. Perhaps it's market cap weighted. But huge signal here. And I think we're just starting to see this wave, the wave of financial investors putting their clients' portfolios into crypto. So this is a big one to see as well. Maybe we'll quickly go down the risk curve because I think we've got Pons on with us. In meme coins, this useless token, Bonk guy was right. Bonk guy was right once again. This was the easiest 10 to 20x on the board in the meme space. It was just kind of there for the taking. And it feels like a lot of folks are sidelined on this one, myself included. So this was trading at 10 million back on June 8th. So 3 weeks.
Crazy.
3 weeks, 20x. And it looks like it's just grinding up. So there aren't a whole lot of sellers on this thing just yet. I was curious how high he'd be able to take this one, especially because he'd been dabbling in the meme coin space. He'd been recommending kind of a lot of coins. At one point, we talked about the Bonk guy list, and there was like 10 on there. The rest of those, he's like kind of abandoned, and they're not doing as well. He seems to be throwing his full force behind this one.
It's wild, dude. $200 million.
It's doing quite well. It was a nice little rebound kind of across the board for some of the leading memes so far, going back over $1.10. I think it's like $1.15 or so. SBX back to $1.30. So the leaders doing quite well. And then Pingu finally caught the bid as well here.
I'm seeing a lot of people tweet about Pingu these days.
It is
it's definitely out there.
Has big mind share for sure. It's up 57% on the week. And last week was huge, right? We had the Pudgy at the ringing the bell at NASDAQ. And then we had the ETF announcement. And it's like neither of those announcements or events like really moved the needle right away, but then we saw the bid a bit delayed. What's interesting, I think, about Pingu is it's still 300% off all-time high. I mean,
yeah, but that was the day of launch, right? Like I don't know where we really pinpoint the all-time high for Pingu because it launched in like a weird environment and then just went straight down, right? So do you count all-time high as the open? Like what's your all-time high for Pingu?
I wouldn't count that opening day, but like here, January 6th, it had been trading for a few weeks. Let's see what the market cap was. So it was 2.8 billion. So that's three and a half from here.
Yeah, it's probably going to run it back.
And it feels like a lot more folks are perhaps out of position for a potential leg up here on this one as well.
Wouldn't be surprised to see it run back to be honest. Guys, I think I'm so bullish. Fuck. I'm always bullish though.
Well, we haven't talked about it is major. So the other big thing that happened this weekend was this message out of Trump. I'm not sure if you saw this, but basically he sent this note out from Truth Social for cost-cutting Republicans. Remember, you still have to get reelected. Don't go too crazy. This is talking about how they're kind of going through and breaking down the big beautiful bill and where they want to perhaps take things out, make changes. And basically the last sentence, we will make up for it with growth. So basically saying we're going to print money, but then we're going to try to grow our way out of it as we inflate our dollars. And folks think this is bullish stocks, bullish Bitcoin, crypto as well has been the takeaway from this one so far. So I think this is arguably one of the bigger macro headlines to watch this week is what happens with the bill. I think Bessent came out and said
Bessent today, right? He said it's going to pass.
There's some rumors that they may get tax breaks for crypto in this bill. Have you seen this?
What I saw, and Dennis Porter is lobbying for this. This is the wrong link. Is they're looking for two things: this de minimis exemption. So basically, any transaction under $600 is tax free, and then they want to end double taxation on mining and staking. Those are the two big ones. I've seen rumors of perhaps more, but with the less than $600, what you're enabling there is to be able to use crypto as currency, to be able to go buy your cup of coffee with Bitcoin without getting taxed on it. I think that seems somewhat likely to pass. I think like a broad sweeping no tax, like no capital gains tax on crypto, I think feels much harder. So I wouldn't necessarily conflate that.
He said a lot of things today. 25 minutes ago, Treasury Secretary Bessent says crypto stablecoin legislation could be finalized by mid-July. So there's that. And then he also talked about how they could be looking for replacement for Jerome Powell in the coming weeks. Too late, Jerome Powell. You know?
Trump was going off about rates all weekend. He was saying that we should be down.
Mr. Too late. Yeah. So it looks like guys, jubilant July. It's right around the corner, baby.
To be clear, that's a replacement for next year. It's not a replacement for this year.
I know, but it's just a headline thing. You know how it works. You know the game. You know the game. I don't know, guys. I was away all week, and all I could see was like banger after banger headline on my phone. I was like, I gotta put it away. It's too much. I'm confident about the second half of the year. I don't know about you guys. Like, how do you feel about H2? Like, today's Monday, tomorrow's 1st of July. We just finished another quarter. We know Q3, Q4 strong ones. You know, no, lads. H2 is looking good. H2 is looking good.
I think Q3 is looking good. I like. I've got the summer 2021 vibes going. Explosive July and August. That's what our beloved M2 chart says.
Oh, how's the
As
M2
well.
chart doing? I haven't looked at that in a week.
Let's pull it up. Happy you asked.
Also, how's the CryptoPunk Bitcoin spread? That's one I haven't looked. I haven't looked at shit for a week. Hold on. I'll look at that while you pull the M2. See you, Mando.
Yeah,
I'll look at that one.
Pawns on here in a second. I mean, we're lagging. We're lagging, folks. So the M2 says we should be at 125 by now. So we are.
Oh, it's not bad.
We're well below.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not that bad.
If we continue to lag through July and August, I think we'll stop. People may stop referencing the chart quite as much.
Huh.
Delta Max isn't Q3 when we get to 18 months post last halving should start to pump. Yeah, that is correct.
Oh, what's the halving chart too? I like that chart because I'm a big cycle guy. I'm a big cycle guy.
Yeah, I don't have that one handy. Actually, Shamath was talking about that. I think on All In on Friday, he actually was talking about the bull case for Bitcoin to 500K this cycle.
Interesting.
Basically, all he did was take a look at the average returns from the halving from the past 2 cycles, and he applied it, and that's how he got to 500K. So not the most exact math by any means, and I think you can make an argument for diminishing returns, but still, more folks give their bull targets. So we'll certainly see. I know we've got Pawns on with us. So maybe we can get him up on stage.
Let me get him up. Hold on.
Things it's a time sensitive day. We've got a launch coming up very shortly. Pawns, Gian, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just launching 20 something minutes. I'm a glutton for punishment. So peak chaos here.
Yeah, we well, first we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Close to launch. So thank
well,
you.
I'm not a dev, so I can't do anything anyway. So whatever happens from now at this point.
So tell us about it. So what is launching today? Grindcoin. Maybe give our listeners a little bit more info.
Yeah, Grindcoin's launching today, and it's something we've been working on for a long time. In fact, when I first started talking about it, I talked to Farouk about it shortly after the 2024 NFT Paris. That's how long we've been working on it. So,
yeah.
Finally coming to fruition, and we've done a lot of we chose abstract for a lot of reasons, and the way that we've distributing the token to 25 plus communities, including MYRIAD's communities, going to get some. So it's we're excited. You never know, as you guys well know, you never know what's going to happen on launch day, but either way, we're going to have fun, and it's just a point in time. We're here for the long run, and very excited about Grind as an attention token in the abstract ecosystem.
All right. So I was going to ask next, like, what is it? So it's an attention token. Could you maybe give us a little bit more info?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a meme coin. You can label them different things, but for me, what Grind will do for the holders in the abstract ecosystem is give them leverage. So you've got, we'll start out with anywhere from 8 to 10,000 holders, depending how many claim and how many buy at the beginning, all on abstract. I've already got platforms and games lined up that want these guys to participate. And so it's just like, the strengths you see within NFT communities when somebody wants their attention, they give them stuff. And I believe that Grind can be utilized for that. And actually, I'm working on things that we'll use Grind for as well, for that purpose, because the Grind community is going to be, it's going to dominate abstract. That's our goal.
I'm curious.
Why did you decide to go with abstract on that?
I'm a big fan of the abstract team and Luca, of course. And there's going to be a million chains. There already are a million chains. I think that abstract has a great shot at being the consumer chain because of just the Luca and his team's ability to execute, the connections he has, the devs that are part of the team. So for me, of course, everybody told me to do it on Sol. That's the common, that's the common advice that you get. But we've all seen those charts. They all have the same story for the most part. And so to go somewhere just because that's where quote unquote the liquidity is didn't make a lot of sense to me. I wanted to go where the users are and the people are participating, and liquidity will come over time. There'll be liquidity that comes today for this launch.
Well, I can't argue with that. I'm bullish on abstract for similar reasons. And the decision, I mean, Solana, it's crowded. It's also kind of going the wrong direction right now from a momentum perspective. So I think the choice for abstract, certainly a nice little differentiator.
Yeah, and we chose abstract before it launched. So I talked to Luca about it in fourth quarter last year. So we already made that decision, and we've been waiting for it to build itself out like they've done, and I think it's actually very, very great timing today. Usually when I launch something, it's not great timing. It turns out to be great timing today.
Well, that's what I was going to ask next. Is you've been working on this for so long, like was it always? How long has it been the plan to try to launch in June 2025?
It's been the plan. I was going to launch in June since May. So it's one of those things.
That's how these things go.
Yeah, I think originally we thought we were going to launch in February, and we didn't for different reasons. And we were actually to launch last Monday, and since bombs started flying in last Friday, we were like, no, yeah, we're not going to do it on Monday, so we pushed it to this Monday.
Got it. Well, the timing is going to be just fine. We're heading into the end of Joyful June, perhaps Jubilant July. I think a lot of people are starting to maybe pay a little more attention. I think I see a little more bullish energy on the timeline. So that's a little backdrop here today. I think the other part of this announcement is a potential partnership with MYRIAD.
Oh yeah.
So should we learn a little bit more about that? And Farouk, I don't know if that's you or if that's Pons kind of taking the spirit.
I can tap into that. I mean, as you guys know on the MYRIAD, and obviously Pons too, but as you guys know on the MYRIAD side, a good way to grow is to partner with communities. Our first one was Pudgy Penguins when we launched the beta version of MYRIAD Markets back in the first week of December at Art Basel, where we had Pudgy Penguins community contest, right? We gave away to little Pudgies and a bunch of other stuff. So you guys were able to participate in Pudgy Penguin specific markets like the floor price of little Pudgies, of big Pudgies, this, that. So it was a lot of fun. And a lot of people liked it. The second community we did that with was REKT. So again, you guys were able to partake in that market and earned some REKT token for being in the leaderboard. And then, we did a partner one with our favorite partners, Wallet Connect, who sponsor our show as well. So we did that for a few months, and we gave away $100,000, I think, in the end, which was super cool. And now the next one we're doing it with is the Plague. Obviously, great community that's extremely active. We obviously like to select communities that we think are active enough and still alive and well. And out of all the NFT communities that started back in 21, I think the Plague is still to this date, to be honest, one of the more active ones. So you guys will see that populate soon. I was in the MYRIAD business review call this morning. I wrote my call this morning, and I heard all about it. So that should be live shortly after the show. Similar way, like I said, to REKT, Pudgy Penguin, sorry, and REKT, where you'll be able to do that. But not only that, there's also going to be a claim. So I still have my frog. I don't know about you guys, but if you still have the Plague NFT, your frog, you'll be able to claim MYRIAD points, which, if I were you, I would definitely start tapping into MYRIAD and accumulating these points. Same thing for Faces of Web3, which of course we never leave behind, which was our Rug Radio PFP that launched back in 2022 or 3. I actually forget now, man. Time is so crazy. And on top of that, Pons and his team are granting us an allocation of 100 million grind tokens to give away to prediction market participants via the events leaderboard. So short story long, you have a Plague Frog, you're going to be able to claim some points right away. You have a Face of Web3, you can claim points right away. And then for participating, you can earn points, but also up to 100 million grind tokens that we're going to give away in the predictions. So it's going to last 2 weeks, and we're going to have about 8 to 10 markets incoming, so it should be a lot of fun if you're a Myriad Markets participant. So make sure you share, make sure you partake today, and it's gonna be good. And good luck to all the participants. We always have about like 20 to 40,000 people that like to partake in those. It's always good. But yeah, Pons, I don't know if you want to double down here, but that's kind of the TLDR of what's going on today.
No, yeah, we appreciate you guys including us. Looking forward to seeing it all take place. And yeah, I'm happy to give away those prizes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the bets are. Actually, that's going to be our predictions. So I'm looking forward to see what people predict. I'm going to play myself.
I think these partner markets are always a lot of fun, and it's also a nice way for folks who maybe are a little newer to prediction markets, maybe don't have as much capital to put up to risk. You can use points, so it's lower risk, kind of risk free, right? And you can get your feet wet. Use the platform. And if you are part of the plague, know this ecosystem, you should probably have a leg up too on some of these markets, right? Betting against folks who may not have all the backstory and back knowledge that you have. Well, kind of our last section of this conversation, Pons, I know you are a very busy man, because it's not just Grindcoin that you've been working on. And I don't know how much detail we can get into today, but the other project you've been working on that's been catching a whole lot of attention on the timeline. YEET. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, you're saying it correctly. YEET. Yeah. Although I've seen some people say XEAT, which I think is funny too. There's some, you can play it both ways, but YEET is how we pronounce it. Yeah.
So you are stepping into the InfoFi game to a degree.
Yeah, we almost didn't call it InfoFi because there's going to be a lot of differences between what what you're used to seeing with InfoFi and today and what we're doing. But obviously that's a big part of it, and it's much harder to try and explain what you're doing plus what a new quote unquote meta would be. So we just stuck with InfoFi, but we are there's one of those things where this is actually, let me take a step back. This is something I've been thinking about since 2022. We actually launched what I called back then an earn to earn NFT, which was a terrible name at the time, but I thought it was fun and cool then, but looking back on it, it's a bad name. And it was very similar to what you see, it was going to be very similar to what you see in InfoFi today. But it failed. We got rugged by our devs and a couple other, reasons. It would have failed anyways, just because it wasn't going to be well executed based on what I know now. But what we see with InfoFi, I think the narratives on the timeline are all pretty solid as far as people complaining about the slop and only a select few people that are, benefiting from it. We think we have a solution to those problems. We think we have a strategy that's going to align incentives between the businesses, the KOLs holders, and the consumers of the business's product, which is ultimately what, if I'm a business, I'm paying whatever 6 figures to have awareness of my brand. Awareness is great, but if nobody's using it, it doesn't matter in the end. So we have a strategy that kind of brings all those share our stakeholders together, and we think we will be able to align incentives so that we can execute InfoFi better than the platforms that are doing it now.
Well, I certainly think there is a lot of appetite for this. And I think you nailed the criticism. I feel like InfoFi itself is starting to have kind of a negative connotation.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is. Well, people are lumping in like Laudio and some of these others as InfoFi. Those weren't InfoFi. They just happened to launch using an InfoFi technique, but those weren't InfoFi platforms. So yeah, it is. But then so we may change once we launch everything. Everybody sees what we're doing. We might change what we call it, but it's much easier just to say it's InfoFi now and move forward.
Yeah, everyone knows what it is. But I've always been in the camp that, like, conceptually this space makes sense. Like we all show up. We're in this niche, crypto Twitter. We come and show up to this app every day. It makes sense that people are talking about protocols. I think we just want them, I guess, talking about them for the right reasons and with some semblance of quality, right? And not just total, AI slop, which I think is the casual criticism of it.
Yeah, and ultimately, if it's just the same people talking about different things and nobody's ever using them, it doesn't really accomplish much. And again, when you're only focused on 100 winners, you're going to have a lot of dissatisfied participants pretty quickly, and we're seeing that play out on the timeline.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's really cool. I can't wait to see what you do with that. Anyways, Pons, we're gonna let you go because I know you have something to launch in 9 minutes. So so good luck with that. And I can't wait for you guys all to see the Plague and Myriad markets that's gonna come out soon. Hopefully you'll participate. But Pons, thank you so much for coming today, and excited to see what you got going on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me. Have a great day.
Thanks, Pons.
Bye.
Peace out. All right. Last thing, if you're in Cannes, if you're in France, we have a little event for you. I found out today. I was like, fuck yeah. So we have an event for you guys. Pengu and Alice's Beach Fest, Tuesday, July 1st, is tomorrow, 19 p.m. at 19:00. So that's 7 p.m. CET. If you're in Cannes, I just retweeted it, but it's also on Rug Radio's Twitter page, RUGRADIO. We have a beach fest happening at the Copa Beach Club. It's for M&A landholders, Pudgy Penguin holders, Maxi Venture VIPs, and a bunch of friends, etc. The Crypt Media and Rug Radio will be media partners for the event. So make sure that if you're in Cannes for ETHCC, you tap in to the event. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a good one, and I'll be around. So come say hi, come say what up. Anyways, that's that. Tyler, can't wait for Robinhood news. Honestly, I'm excited, but they kind of got front ran by all these whale watcher thingies, right? Saying tokenized stocks launching.
Yeah, I think it got front ran a little bit, so maybe a bit of a letdown if that's just what the announcement is. But
there's still off-chain labs on
to hear
there.
it.
So, yeah, excited to hear it. They're like, so I saw a bunch of people in the city walking around with the badges. So Robinhood is fully like the main sponsor of ETHCC.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the badges say like Robinhood, like on all of them. So Robinhood's like all in, dude. What a pivot! What a
Their
pivot!
stock's pumping today too. Market likes it. They're up 7%.
Dude, the Hood is. I wish I had stocks, but Hood is like I don't know. Feels to me like one of the best bets. It was Hood
guess
coin.
what? It's going to be a lot easier for you to buy tokenized stocks here.
I did
in the very near future.
I'm waiting for that. I'm excited for that. Anyways, Mr. T, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I have a MetaMask event tomorrow. Can't wait to be back. And we'll see y'all. Tyler and Amanda will see y'all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. ET. Another episode from on Rug Radio.